Roll call, please.
Mayor Connie Ball,
Here.
Vice Mayor Mike Coffin,
Here.
Alderman Jeff Fancher,
Here.
Alderman Roger Gribble,
Here.
Alderman Mike Hensel,
Here.
Alderman Bobby Knight,
Here.
City Attorney Terry Hurst,
Here.
City Administrator James Fincher.
Here. Thank you. Item 3 under letter A is to approve the minutes for the regular session on March the 10th, 2015. You've had a chance to look those over. Do you see any corrections that needed to be made or additions, or do we have a motion to approve as written?
I make a motion to approve as written.
Thank you.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Item B is the minutes for the special call meeting, March 30th, 2015. Any corrections or additions or a motion to approve as written?
I make a motion to approve as written.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Nothing under item 4. Item 5 is communications from the interim city administrator, James Fincher.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item I have is to make y'all aware that Brandy Hensley, the manager of the animal shelter, has turned in a 2-week notice and is currently working out that notice. We posted in all the departments that position has come open, but after discussions with Lisa Lehman, who is the animal control manager out there, she has agreed, after urging from a lot of people, including a lot of the friends of the animal shelter, to take on that role. And the only thing that she asked was that she, of course, we do a 90-day probation on any position anyway, but she asked for, the ability that on a trial basis, if she tries it and it's not something she feels like she wants to do, because she loves what she does now, that she could return to that. So we're going to let her do that on a trial basis to see. She's been there 13 years. She does a good job. She's loyal and dedicated, and I think she can handle it. But she's a little apprehensive about it. But we are going to allow her the opportunity to give it a try and see where that goes. We've been approached by the Chamber of Commerce about the possibility of having a summer concert series back on the back of the property here at City Hall, to set up a band on the corner. There's a porch that's in the far corner back there, and let people bring a chair and sit and enjoy an afternoon or an evening of music. They approached me about that Friday, and we went back and looked at it to make sure that was what it would work for what they were wanting to do. And so I don't have that on the agenda, but I wanted to make you aware in case you had any concerns about it. If y'all, of course, you have the option of putting it on the agenda tonight if you'd like, but if not, we can put it on the agenda for next month. I just wanted to get your feelings on it so they could move forward with it in the event that there are no problems with it. I don't see where there would be a problem with it. I think it'd be a good thing to try. If it works out, they hope to maybe have like 2 a month during the 3 months of the summer. But we want to try a couple like in June to see how it pans out and see what, how much interest there is in the community. Hopefully it would be something that would, of course, obviously bring people to town, and then also if it grows and gets too big, it's a fairly small space out back. But in discussions, we agreed that, this is the first time you may not have, 25 people show up, or you might have a crowd. But if it does outgrow that, we can quickly find another location for it or something. But we want to give it a trial run out back here to see how that would work out.
What do they want from us?
Just permission to do it. That's all they need from us.
James, do you want us to have a motion and a second and approve waiving the rules?
Well, that would be my suggestion. Yes, sir. Because I'd like for them to have as much, because we're in April now, and I want to try to do 2 in June. So that they would need to get into a process of finding someone to play and get everything set up, and I'd like to give him as much time to do that as possible.
Well, I'd recommend that council waive waive the rules and allow it to be put on the agenda to vote on.
We're voting on the fact that you're going to let them explore and get back to you the options and possibilities, right?
Well, what they're asking for is permission to utilize the property.
A trial run, more or less.
Yes, sir, to try it and see how it goes over, see how it works, see how it goes over, and then it may not, it may not go over with the community. I think it will, or it may not be a good location for it because it's small.
With your conversations with them, what kind of clientele are we talking about?
Will it just be open to the public?
I'm talking about the music.
Oh, I don't know. It'd be whatever they could come up with. I don't know. We didn't discuss that. We didn't get into that. We didn't get that far along yet. They're here. They're back there in the corner. They might tell you.
It'd be in the realm of calm.
Yes.
That was my point.
I don't think it'll be a mosh pit headbang. I don't think
Maurice said, thank you, amen on that one, right?
Carter will participate.
This is not one of those where they can sell beer and so forth.
No, sir. We won't. No, sir. You just bring your chair and sit back there and listen to the music.
Okay, no.
No shenanigans. Calm. I like the word calm. I like the word calm.
And you can't have open alcohol, in the city.
Okay. I move we change the rule.
Legally.
Okay, we got a motion to change the rules,
To suspend the rule.
to suspend the rules,
Suspend the rules.
and put it on the agenda.
I second.
Okay? Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none.
Thank you. Budget update, we have pretty much.
Motion now, actually, to the event that we waive the rule.
Yeah, we waived the rules. I'm gonna put it at the very end of the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Next item, budget, we have almost got a preliminary budget put together. There's a lot of issues need to be discussed, and I would like to know when you all would like to have a budget workshop to dig into the budget.
Whenever it's ready.
You want us to get in
I think
touch
we ought to
with the
sit-
team when it's ready to,
Well, you give us a date, and we'll be ready. I mean, not tomorrow, but, I mean, you gotta give notice. I mean, you gotta give public
why don't you
notice.
give us
Okay,
notice when it's,
so why don't we say if we give public notice tomorrow, we could do it in, 4 days? Is that what you have to have?
Well, I mean,
Gotta have a week.
A week?
I wouldn't do
Okay.
it before next week, yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it before next week. I wouldn't try to have
would
one.
you suggest something to us that's convenient?
Well, like,
How about Tuesday, the 28th, James?
that'd be, as far as I know, that'd be fine.
Tuesday, the 28th?
That's the day I gotta take off from school. I'm not being selfish, but I gotta
well,
take off
we
for
understand.
UB, and
Does that work with everyone?
Yeah, be fine with me. What time? 5:30?
5:30?
That's up to y'all.
5:30
We're here all
Tuesday,
day.
the 28th.
Has MTS reviewed that yet, or
They don't
anything?
review our budget.
I mean, they will if they're asked.
Nah, they really won't. MTS, used to, they would come in and help you do a budget. Now they really don't. They really don't get into your budget. That's what they told us, because we asked for help 2 years ago, and they told us they didn't do budgets anymore.
Well, do you mind if I check and see if they will do
No,
that?
that's fine.
Okay, all right, thank you, brother.
Okay. The last thing, I'm going to call on Chief Reagan to give a report on the ISO rating.
I'll try to make this short, but I do want to give a little explanation because some people don't even understand what ISO is. That's the Insurance Services Office. It's basically a group that's nationwide that rates your fire departments for different towns or jurisdictions. And I've actually been nervous because they did our rating, they did the study and everything back in October, and told me it would be 7 or 8 months before we got our rating back. We've been a 4 rating, which is good. It goes from 1 to 10. 1 is the best. 10 is basically you doesn't have any fire protection at all. We've been a 4 since 1998. That's the last time we were graded. Alderman Knight was captain or battalion chief, one or other at that time. But anyway, since then, there have been 2 times that they've changed the way they do their rating schedule. So pretty much our department and everybody else was going into this a lot blind as far as what they wanted, how to do things, how to give them our records, what kind of records they even wanted because the schedule had changed. We stayed a 4, which is very good. I do have some statistics that I'd like to let you know. There, out of almost 49,000 departments in the U.S., there are only 6,115 4s. That's in the whole country. So, and there's 1s, 2s, and 3s. We are in the top 20% of all fire departments in the whole country, being a 4. We're in the top 20% of the state. There's 933 departments in the state of Tennessee that are rated. There's only 119 4s. And there are less 3s, less 2s, and there's only one in the state of Tennessee right now. What this does, it applies this to any property within 5 road miles of our stations. It's 5 miles to the Open Door Church out there at 411. So that pretty much covers everything. Insurance companies look at this to determine your fire insurance, what you're paying, basically. And a 4 is good. What I'm telling you is because we got this 4, your insurance, because of the Newport Fire Department, shouldn't go up this year. It could have other reasons, but our ratings stayed the same. These ratings are, there's 3 things basically they determine. There's 10% of our grade. We get a 100-point grade. 10% of that grade is communications, how our 911 center works, how our radios operate, how our backup systems, all that works. That's 10% of the grade. 40% of the grade is our water supply, which is NU, Linton, and especially Clint. Clint Hammonds did a lot of work for us to get numbers and stuff to ISO from the water system, and we really appreciate what Nancy did because she basically, and Mayor Crystal is here, she's went through it when the county did theirs, so she understands somewhat what we did. But Nancy Hansel did excellent job giving them every information they wanted. Linton, the water department, everything they wanted, they needed. It was quick. It was straight to them. They didn't have to call back and ask, why is this, why is that? It was all right there. There's a lot of times you have to go out and do a whole bunch of hydrant testing and flowing, and I know when that happens, people in the neighborhoods don't really like the fire department right then because we make their water muddy. But because of the way the records were at the water company, we only had to flow 5 hydrants, I believe, because they took their computerized stuff that they already had and said, okay, this is what we want, and this is good. So out of 100 points, we had a 63.56. What that means is if we had got 6.46 more points, we would have been a 3. If we got 4 points less, we would have been a 5, and I would have been way more nervous standing here telling you guys that than I am, because I'm tickled to death that this is a 4. You guys just don't, since 98, that's a long time at one rating at one department. Our guy that did this, he tells me, and it should happen because it's happened to Morristown and some other departments around here. 4 to 5 years now, they'll be back, they'll check again. What we're going to do, and I've got a stack of papers, and James got a stack of papers. It tells us all these things, how they rated it, what the points were, and all that. We're going to use that as a tool to improve everything we can at the fire department with the resources that we have. And by the way, I would like to put this in. Me and James were talking. Greenville, Gatlinburg, Morristown, I believe Sevierville, I'm not positive. All those are a 3. We're a 4. Look at the different resources those towns have compared to our small town. I'm not whining about it, I'm just saying, they have a lot of resources that this small town doesn't have. Before I leave, what I want to say is thank you to our mayor and council, not just this one, previous mayor and council, because it takes that to make this department run. We really want to thank the citizens for putting the trust in us, because, you know, you all are, basically, you are our customers. I want to thank James, like I said, Linton, Clint, Nancy, and the fire department, the guys down there. They work really hard, and I've been in this position for 7 years, and there have been some changes that weren't always exactly how the fire department or the firefighters felt like they should be. But this is a result of them doing their job and doing what was asked of them, even though they didn't always agree with it. So anyway, thanks a lot. If anybody wants more explanation, I'll be happy to do all the explaining that I can do, but some of it is some technical stuff.
Mr. Reagan, I wish you'd tell all the people at the fire department, I believe what the town feels about the job they're doing, and would say thank you to what y'all do. You know, we keep up with that real close, and y'all have done a real good job, and that's also complimentary to y'all too, so.
Well, you're welcome, but we're glad to have this responsibility and hope we don't let you guys down.
Thank you, Chief. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, I would like to congratulate our council members here for attending the Elected Officials Academy with MTask. All of them retained, scored a level 1. They finished that course, and all of them but Mike got to level 2, and Mike laid out of that one and checked in the hospital. So, took sick leave. So, but I think they need a hand for their service and their.
I'll tell you what I got out of after the fact, was getting a couple of phone calls from some people there that really felt that we are, I'm touting our horn a little bit, that we have no agendas and are wanting to get some things done. And we want some people to be a part of our solution or the problem. And we had some good compliments of our stay there. Rogersville, Greenville, Tusculum, Irwin, Unicoi, Red Bank. Yeah, and so it was good. It was good for me. I learned a lot.
And I hear the comments from citizens myself. This council shows no agendas.
Okay.
And
Amen.
it's wonderful. Okay, item 6 is appointment of boards, commissions, and committees. We have on the agenda item A, the Newport Utilities Board appointment that Bill Whitson currently holds, and that term is coming to an end. What's your pleasure, council?
Mr. Bear, last time I made a motion to put Mr. Claude Gatlin on the list as a possible candidate. After looking at all the resumes that came through and consulting some people outside of Newport about these resumes, they said there's only one obvious choice as far as credentials go, and that was Mr. Claude Gatlin for his years in communication, telecommunications, yes, and communications, I guess it was, as far as his expertise on the engineering field. And I am going to put Mr. Claude Gatlin on the ballot if you don't care for.
Okay, sure. Okay. Any other nominations?
Craig Wild.
Who was that?
Craig Wild.
Craig Wild. Okay. Any other nominations? Do we have a motion to cease nominations?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second? All those in favor of ceasing nominations indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Claude Gatlin was the first one nominated. Let's do a roll call, please, for Claude Gatlin.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes, ma'am.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
No.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
No.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Okay, three to two. Okay.
3 votes, he's been.
You've been appointed, Claude. Congratulations and condolences.
Stand up, Claude, I want everybody to see you.
Thank you.
Is there any discussion of when the other two quote-unquote politicians will, are we going to stagger it down the
You're
street?
going to stagger it, and it will be within the next few months. We will have 2 more new ones on the utility board. They didn't want us to do them all at the same time. They want us to stagger them so everybody don't come on at the same time, or everybody don't leave at the same time. So within the next few months, there'll be some more changes made.
This is what the people want, right?
Yes, sir, and the utility.
You're getting it. Thank
So
you,
there'll
sir.
be
You're
2 more
welcome.
vacancies and 2 more,
Yes.
2 more positions to fill.
All right, item 7, reports from committees. Tanner Preservation Alliance.
Just a little update. I want to thank the council members who did come to the tour of the Tanner Building that we had back in March, and also came to our meeting. We appreciate that. The Tanner Building is back on the endangered list, the endangered 8 for the Knoxville Heritage. And also we've had an electrical engineer from Newport Utilities came and did a tour with Pete Morgan, our electric consultant, and has determined that there is not a overwhelmingly amount of electrical work to be done, and it should cost an estimated $10,000. So right now, we're working toward that. We're working on a couple grants, hopefully to get the electrical. I think we've decided the electric is first, then plumbing, and fire sprinkler system. But we have a newsletter that's going out this week to the businesses in the community and the Friends of the Tanner Preservation Alliance, asking for support and donations. Some in-kind contributions would be welcome. So there's some positive things going on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Tim Dockery.
Thanks, Mayor. Brandon's going to speak to you. I'm going to hand out some information. It's for you to look at, and it's addressing the challenge of Mr. Fancher to sports tourism.
Good afternoon. Based upon the challenge, Alderman Fancher has asked us to put together some information on sports tourism and sports tourism destination for our community. In this packet, you'll find some information. It's got where we want to be, where we would like to be, different things like that, different ideas we can come up with. Hopefully, you'll get a chance to read it, and we're open to all discussions. I'm at the office every day. Every day. Anytime y'all want to come by, let us know, and hopefully you get a chance to read it. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you. Item 8, there's no old business. Item 9, under new business. Item A is consideration of Resolution 2015-05, acquisition and renovation of Suncrest Apartments that was discussed at the public hearing. Council, what's your pleasure?
It's just a matter of formality.
It's it. It's all it is. Motion second and approved.
Make a motion.
Yep.
You made a motion? Second. Okay. And Jeff, second?
Yes, sir, I will. I'll second that.
Okay. Any other discussions or questions? Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes, ma'am.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
That should do it.
Thank you, folks, for your time and appreciate your service to your community.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, item B is consideration of Resolution 2015-06, General Obligation Bond of Newport Utilities.
So Sherry, come in.
Sherry? Yes. Do y'all have any questions?
Sure, ain't it just a matter of formality too, on this stuff, it's the same thing.
It is.
Yeah.
Might as well get it over with,
Yeah.
because it's formality.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Okay. Y'all get that? Okay, who made the motion? Roger and Mike Hansel, second. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor indicate by saying,
Probably need a roll call on that.
okay, let's roll call that too.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes, ma'am.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you. And then you've got another one, Resolution 2015-07, General Obligation Bond for Newport Utilities, and that's a formality. Do we have a motion to approve it?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
That's it. Bobby Knight.
Bobby Knight. Okay. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. Roll call.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes, ma'am.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you. Item D is consideration of the 2015 amended bylaws of the Cobb County Partnership submitted by the Cobb County Legislative Body. And, from what I gather from all that I have read, it looks like what was requested at the joint meeting we had, and what's the pleasure of the council.
Just like what they said at the last meeting we had, there's no perfect answer for any of it, but out of everybody, this has been the most suitable answer. And like we said, we've dealt with this and dealt with this, and it's gone on and gone on. People said we need to do something about it, and this is the closest. I've not heard any real gripes about the way it is right now. And I think we ought to go ahead and get something done so we can get on about our business.
I'd like to make a couple of comments. One, it's labeled amended bylaws. We're not amending the old bylaws, we're replacing them. Is that, the attorneys will have to tell me, but it shouldn't be amended. I didn't see anything that was being amended. I thought it was this new bylaws. It should be the bylaws of Cobb County 2015, because we're not amending any of the old bylaws, we're replacing them. I can't see the attorney. Well,
Right, here's one.
there's one. I kept looking. I thought there was two or three. I saw green there. Oh, there he is. I knew that.
We're all here, and quite honestly, Roger, I think you're probably right. From a technical standpoint, we are revising the bylaws, and maybe that was the attorney's fault in mislabeling it when we did it. Whatever we want to call it, I think the fact of the matter is the CLB has approved this document that we have in front of us, and if you want to call it a revision, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but
There's no part of the old bylaws will remain, is there? That would be a revision, right?
I mean, parts of it, but the main reason that this would be called an amended, in my opinion, Alderman Gribble, is that in order for it to pass, just says it has to be amended by a 2/3 vote on two separate occasions for the partnership to pass it. And based on that language, we stated that these were just amended bylaws.
And we didn't revoke the old partnership. We are
Restructuring it would be a good way to look at it, like a corporate restructure. We've gone in and changed the rules and regulations that they have to follow.
Okay.
But I see your point, because we threw out everything.
Everything in the old partnership is gone.
Correct.
And this document, it replaces it, correct?
We pretty much replaced all the old bylaws.
Assuming they pass.
But we have amended the old one by throwing the old ones out and putting the new ones in. So technically you are correct. We threw the old ones away and started over.
All right. Now, and the second question that I've asked Ray was does the new bylaws, or the amended, revised, whatever they are they in conflict with the articles of incorporation of the Economic Development, EDC?
Of the partnership,
Are these, the new 2015 bylaws, is there conflict in the articles of incorporation and this new document? And that's one of my biggest questions. If there's, between the bylaws and the articles of incorporation, something, if we go with these bylaws, then we're going to have to change some of the articles of incorporation, because they have to be the same, right? You can't.
The Articles of Incorporation generally is a general document that just says we're starting a EDC.
Well, but I think Articles of Incorporation for the EDC goes beyond that. I mean, y'all have probably looked at it.
is there a certain point?
Wiser heads.
Is there a certain point that you're addressing specifically?
No, I don't have them with me, but I think a quick look, you could tell between the Articles of Incorporation, some of the things in the bylaws, there is a conflict. I think that's something that needs to be resolved, if there is. And so I think that's something attorneys need to look at.
We will definitely look at it.
Okay, and see.
Because most time your articles of organization say we want to start an EDC for the purpose of assisting the community.
Yeah, but I think
it really doesn't go beyond that, other than naming who the incorporators were and things like that. So it shouldn't have any rules. Your rules should be in your bylaws and your charter.
Well, I think those articles of incorporation were used statewide, weren't they? Didn't they come from the state and were used by a number of municipalities? I don't have the articles with me, but I do think that's something that should be addressed. Either, before we...
Is it the articles of organization or incorporation or the charter?
Well,
because the articles are just usually a one-page form that just states a few as to who's incorporating and those types of things. And then you have a charter and you have your bylaws.
Okay. Well, it's got the bylaw. These bylaws have got to be consistent with those articles of incorporation and the
here's the charter
and the charter.
And then here's just your certificate of incorporation is this.
Right.
That's
the
all
certificate.
your articles of incorporation are, is this front page.
But I thought
then your charter is the next document,
right,
which follows behind it.
Right. Okay.
Well, and that's your document that sets out the rules of the company.
Right. That's
and then
correct.
You have your bylaws, which then go by and establish. It's the charter establishes what the company's going to do and how it's going to do it.
Right.
The bylaws come in and then say who's going to do it, who's in charge, how do you vote, how do you elect, how do you pay, which this being a nonprofit, you don't pay. But
yeah,
that
well,
laid out in here.
I just think that's something that should be looked at to make sure that these bylaws are not in conflict with those articles of incorporation, the ones that are
Well, if there'd have been a conflict, wouldn't there have been one by the old? I mean, that's
necessarily, because they're different.
It changed quite a bit, but I don't think of course, that's more for the attorneys to answer than me.
Yeah, that's why I was leaving it to the legal minds that we have. I'm just making.
Any other questions, or what's your pleasure?
Well, that said, Terry, Jeff and Mr. Moore, Carter, should we proceed?
My opinion, you should proceed.
Yeah,
Still.
that would be my opinion, my recommendation, especially since the CLB, after a lot of work and a lot of hard work.
That's bad.
Yeah, we've been a part of that conversation.
Yes.
We've been to their meetings and
Well, my 2 cents worth is, we've been to these meetings with Mrs. Mayor, and been, I like the aggressive, proactive conversations. No, they're very great, of course. But also, I'll throw in there that some of the reports that we've heard, of course, $1 in some of these reports will get you something to drink at a local store. But I like the aggressiveness of what I've seen in some of these reports from Sherry, Mr. Robinson, Tim, and this thing here we've asked for. I can be tickling more pink as far as the aggressiveness goes, and if we can follow up on some of the things we've read about that may be coming down the pipe. And I like transparency. There's transparency in these reports. And I just think it's time to, as I say, go on it. Let's go.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes, ma'am.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
No.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you. Item E is consideration of final payment to Robert Campbell and Associates for engineering services.
Mayor, if you all recall, we got a bill from him on the project downtown. It was $30,000. The council was not happy with that and instructed me to negotiate with him. And we had a lengthy discussion one afternoon, and we negotiated him down to $15,000. We were able to cut that in half. I feel like that's about as far as that we can whittle him down.
I think you did a good job.
That's a $15,000 question.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, you're the gentleman that suggested it.
Yeah.
That $15,000, is that part of a grant or part of the money that was borrowed for
Yes,
that
sir,
renovation?
that's correct, yes. We borrowed approximately $1.5 million to do the preliminary work on that project. We have drawn down half of that, and there are still just a little bit of those funds left, and we will pay that out of those funds. It will not come out of
So
the
about
general.
700, what? How much is left? I'm sorry, I missed.
Oh, there's still about $740,000 left that could be drawn down. We have not drawn that money down. But we do still have some funds available that we did draw down to pay this.
Okay, do we have a motion to pay Robert Campbell and Associates $15,000 for a bill that we owe? Is that a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, James, for
Yes.
working that out.
Well, I'll be honest with you. When y'all instructed me to do it, I was skeptical that I could pull it off. But he was, of course, he's doing some other projects for us, so I think that probably played a role.
You may have been looking to the future.
Yes, sir.
Okay, item F is consideration of contract package with auditors Brown, Jake, and McDaniel with a cost of living increase of 3%.
Thank you.
Carter, you gonna sing if we pass this thing?
Yeah, I'm retired.
You still got the voice. Thank you, guys.
It's not on the agenda.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay.
Of course, it's just that time of year when we have to make a decision on our auditor. We've used, as you all heard during the presentation last month, we've used them for the past 10 years. And so it's just that time, whether it's y'all's pleasure to continue to retain them or to want to look at this.
Never had any problems with them. You've been well satisfied with what they're doing, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
they've taken all the time to explain things, come to meetings and things, explain everything, and you're satisfied with what they do too, is that correct?
I am, but Tina works with them much more closely than I do.
You happy, Tina?
You know, they've been there since, 98?
Yeah, it's,
I think we should put that contract out for bid.
I noticed that Tina, correct me if I'm wrong, $48,050, that's for accounting and auditing services. What would their portion of that be, approximately?
That's pretty much all of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which that includes Haley and other members of the staff that come up here on a regular basis and
Right.
go through things. So
The
it's,
only other thing that would be in that line item, if we need it, if we don't do it every year, is an OPEB evaluation. So if we had evaluation or an audit on our post-retirement benefits, that would come out of that line item. 50,000 was about our budget estimate with the increase. Currently this year to date, I would estimate, we only spent 36, but we haven't gotten our final billing. I expect at least 5 or 6 more. So I think we'll maybe end up at worst 43,000 this year. But 50,000 is a conservative guess, and that's what we limit the
Right.
budget to.
Well, I was driving down my portable office on I-40 today. This is one of the things I'd circled. Not necessarily that they're doing a good or bad a job. I would assume they're doing good if they've been part of it for 10 years. But I was just looking at the number, and we're in a numbers deal. I didn't know if there was somebody else out there. I'm sure there is. It's just a cable that could do it cheaper. But if we did put it up for bid, would it cause chaos in your daily activities or yearly activities of an audit if somebody else started all over?
It would during the initial year, anytime you bring in a new auditor, because they're going to have to spend more time researching and becoming familiar with the city and our process and what we do. They're going to have to do probably some more expanded testing because they said they're getting familiar. If you do want to bid it, because of the date, auditors, any auditing firm, for governmental audits, they're getting looked up now. You know, it's kind of going to be pushing it to get us scheduled right now to be able to get it done by December 31st. We need them in here no later than October, whoever it is. They have done well, you know, I don't have any problems with them.
I think if something's not broke, why fix it?
Well, you just need I think you need a new set of eyes on those, on auditors. Every organization I've been in, 3 to 4 years, and then they put it out for bid again. Because you need new eyes looking at our financial situation and within the city. They've been here a long time. I wasn't real pleased with the man's audit and his report. And that's why I think that, and I think there's other audit firms out, there's a number in Knoxville I know that would like to bid on this type of entity. So I think we might save some money, but I think we need some new eyes to look at the finances of the city, period.
Since day one, it's the same guy that does the put you to sleep version of the report. Is he the guy that's our auditor?
He has a staff, he has several on his staff.
Now, I will say, in looking at the history, it has been as high as 90,000 in years when the staff was not fully prepared, I guess, in certain years. 36 already, even if it goes as high as 43, is a reduction over prior years, if I'm not mistaken.
What would cause it to fluctuate? The amount of work you have to call them to do?
Well, yes, because
So this is not a set
Billable
price?
hours.
billable hours, and they've had less billable hours in most recent past. If you wanted to do that, that's fine, we'd have to send out a request for proposal. We can't bid it out just on dollars because it's professional service. It has to be based on their experience and whatever.
Yeah.
But I would suggest maybe doing that next year so we have more time to get that together.
that was a question I was going to ask.
Just because of the timing, like I said, we're getting pushed, we need to get our audit done by December 31st, and it's their booking time. We had a hard time getting it in October last year, and, I don't want to push them so far that we don't have somebody in.
I'd make a suggestion to council that we leave it alone now and look at it at an appropriate date that wouldn't cause so much problem. But, it's up to y'all if you want to request bids. The floor is open for a motion to do whatever you'd like to do.
Are they requesting a 3% raise?
It's not a 3% raise, it's just a cost of living increase. We did ask them about that, but I will say, they already told me even in prior years, they have done some discounts already for the people. Because being a government entity, apparently there's a limit on how much billable hours and how much they can charge as far as getting the profit. So they've already been doing some charity work, as it were, in the city, because of the number of hours they've had to put in the past year.
Roger, was your concerns in the last year or the last years, plural?
Years. Having the same audit firm that long with no news eyes.
Well, you said you weren't pleased with his
No, I
numbers,
wasn't.
with his evaluations.
Right.
Okay.
I wasn't.
Specifically,
I spent quite a bit of time going through it, and I know you did. I didn't like the,
so you think
one guy I didn't like, his no feedback on the corrective actions that was taken by the city. I think there should have been some that the auditor should have said, that's an action that will correct the issue we found. And he said in the very first part of the audit that they did not do that. They didn't make any recommendations regarding corrective actions that were taken by the city. They accepted them, period. That was one of the problems, and there's no sense boring y'all with
Tina,
some of
that's
the
one of
others,
your
but with numbers, but I
You're
think
the one
that,
that's supposed to.
I'm sorry.
Judge James one that's supposed to worry about that part of the budget. They don't tell you how to spend the money, they just already approve it.
Right, no, they don't. They all have to be, all audits are done by the government accounting standards board, so.
But if you have a finding, you come up with a solution to correct it so that it don't happen
But you're
again.
not them.
Yes,
but
they
they don't comment on that finding as to whether or not it correct the problem.
It would probably be
Well,
commented on at the next audit if it doesn't show up as a finding, correct?
if you could do that, or during his workshop, for each finding, he has the finding, and then we have our management response. I mean, at that point, during the workshop, those kind of questions could be addressed with him directly.
Yeah, but I asked him when he was here and we had our workshop, and he said they did not make decisions regarding those corrective actions, and they didn't make
they make
comments on it.
suggestions, don't they?
Pardon?
Don't they offer you suggestions? Because I read in that this has been discussed with you and you've agreed that we need to do X, Y, Z.
Right, when Haley's in and we're going through, usually
That's right.
they're back and forth, when she's actually doing the audit, and then of course afterwards, James and I reviewing any issues that they found. But the issues are reducing.
Considerably.
Yeah.
What's your pleasure?
But if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. And just leave it right now, and when you find out more information, that's my suggestion. If there's something you've really got a problem with, address it.
I think being pushed on a time period, for getting it in this year, I think that's the biggest thing we need to look at.
There's benefit for change orders.
Yeah, and put it up to be next year.
The only problem I have is with the increase. I know our city employees haven't had an increase in several years, and everybody thinks their job is valuable, needs to be well compensated for it. That would be the only problem I have with it.
Yeah, we asked a $15,000 question. I think we need to ask them 3%. I mean, might not come in, well, it will come into play. That's going to be based on their hourly rate, right, Jimmy? I say, hey, we want you back. You need to put that 3% on hold.
The county's going through the same thing, aren't you, Mr. Mayor? Y'all working on the same thing, trying to work on the budget without any money, is what I understand too. It's not just the city, it's a lot of people around that's going through the same thing. Want the roads fixed, want this fixed, want that fixed, but nobody's got any money to do it with.
Maybe when we're better able to compensate a little more, we should.
Y'all want to act on this tonight?
Yes.
I do too.
Okay, and let them try to negotiate away the 3%?
Yes.
Do we have a motion to that effect?
I make a motion.
Do we have a second?
Yes, second.
Any other discussion?
So Mayor, that would approve that without the 3%, right?
Well,
Now, okay,
are we approving it?
I don't want to approve it as is until we have this discussion.
Okay,
3% is 3%. I know it's not a big bite out of that elephant, but that's 3% I don't want to give somebody else. I'd rather give to a fireman or a policeman, even though we can't.
So should this come back up next month?
is this pressing to do tonight?
Just, it's not, it's just, the longer it takes, I'm just worried about the shipping time.
Can we call in tomorrow, James? Well, with that said, I don't want to wait another month. I mean,
You could, I'm self-explanatory, but you could vote to approve it minus the 3%, and if they don't agree to negotiate that down, then it's not approved.
Right. Would that be your motion? Minus the 3%, and that's your second? Okay. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
yes, ma'am.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
No.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Crawford.
Yes.
Thank you. Item G is consideration of adding taser policy to the general orders for the police department. Chief Shields.
Mr. Mayor and Alderman, this is a formality. We cannot change our general orders without the approval of the city council. We have purchased the tasers. We have 2 departments standing by waiting to help us with instructors to be trained in the tasers before they're used. And we need this passed as a formality so we'll have a taser policy in place before they're issued to our officers.
We have a motion?
And so moved.
We have a second? Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear you.
Thank you all very much.
Glad you got it,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chief.
Good,
They're
good.
in the police station ready to be issued.
Item H is a consideration of replacing a firefighter.
Mr. Go ahead.
Well, Mr. Mayor, we went through this last time, and something I'm really talking about, we've had 2 good people. The last time we had an application, we got 2 good people this time we had an application. They're drawn from a pool they've already selected, so we don't have to start from scratch every time, and everybody go through the same, rigmarole, but I would like to, I told the boy last time that I'd try to help him. I'd make a nomination with Robert Byers as the new firefighter, and maybe Stephen, on my part of it, maybe we could help you next time. If something comes open, there's 2 fine people, but you just get to vote for one of them, but if you hang in there, sometimes something comes open pretty quick. This one has, so.
Well, I as well promised the gentleman, and I'm sticking by my word. I'm going to nominate, I'm going to second Mr. Robert Bowers.
Okay.
B-O-W-E-R-S.
Any other discussion from any council members? Otherwise? Okay, we have a motion and a second for Robert Bowers. Let's do a roll call, please.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes, ma'am.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Crawford.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to say thank you to Robert and Stephen both. They are exactly what Coach Prophet said. They're good friends of mine, both of them, and sometimes there's difficult decisions. It was last time, it was again this time, but thank you, Mayor.
Steve, hanging there with us.
Mr. Bowers here.
Okay.
Robert's right here. Stephen's back here.
Welcome aboard, bro. We hope you stay here a long time.
Stephen Fine's back here in the
I've had a lot of phone
back.
calls about both of them, especially Mr. Fine, Mr. Bowers last time, so Stephen, I can't wait to get you on board, brother.
Thank you.
Sure. Absolutely. Thank you, Chief. Okay, item I, discussion of cost cutting and revenue savings for the upcoming budget. Alderman Roger Gribble.
Yes, I have a piece of paper I'll pass down to y'all on the we were all gonna do cost cutting, so this is just, these are my suggestions, and everybody else will have theirs. So, I mean, it's nothing we have to decide on tonight, but I think it's something we ought to start thinking about.
Okay, I got it, Terry.
Did you give James one?
Okay.
Things
So this is something you want everybody to look over prior to the
Yeah,
budget
I'm
workshop?
gonna tell you, talk about it in a minute. Everybody else is gonna have one too. My first one is lower paid positions by $100 per position, whether alderman appointed positions, board members, committees, members. These positions are not an income or livelihood. Those who serve, that's us, in these positions do so as service to the community and should only be paid a stipend. Sacrifices have been made, and we should be the first to sacrifice and be the ones to set an example. And I don't think we should ask other people to sacrifice when we won't. In calculating the savings, it would be approximately $26,400 a year over a 4-year term. That would equal $105,000. Any paid board member or alderman who does not attend meetings will not receive pay. If you don't show up at the board meeting, you don't get paid. I suggest the city aldermen give up their insurance. We are not city employees, and we should not receive insurance. Insurance runs about $480 a month, times 5 aldermen, $2,400 a month, $28,000 over a 4-year period. For the 4-year period, it'd be $115,200. Combining the $100 monthly reduction in the insurance saving, these two items combined would save the city $54,400 per year. If we took office to be paid or to get insurance, we took office for the wrong reason. My third suggestion, I suggest a freeze on all hiring within the city with the exception of policemen and firemen. Additionally, we should review all positions to see if any needs to be abolished, if we're top-heavy in any areas, or redundant in some areas, or duplicating positions. We should review pay scales to determine if we are properly paying wages comparable to surrounding areas. Unfortunately, in some of these areas, police and firefighters, I think you're going to find that we're being underpaid. Establish a committee to review property taxes, or all taxes, that we have here in the city. Also, we need to sell any real estate owned by the city that is not being utilized, and we can make some money on it. James and I have talked at length about that. He's already got some ideas in those areas. Now, I don't want to argue my positions tonight, but that's, we were supposed to come in with a listing of ways to raise revenue and to cut expenses. That's fine.
My 2 cents worth is, I'll agree with you on 4 and 5, just talking out loud. But I've read these City of Newport revenues, and I'm pleased to say that on certain categories, for sales tax 106%, as far as the revenue goes thus far this year. And that's the kind of news I want to hear. Now, I'm trusting that you guys are trying to squeeze everything out of every dime we got. And I know that when you're asking for something, I know it's, there's going to get some questions asked back. I'm not so much satisfied. I'm not. If I could find some cuts, for instance, the audit service. I mean, that's $48,000. You see all kinds of line items of $1,500 and $2,000 and $3,000. I'd like to find some bigger pieces of the elephants to chew off. But my problem, my good thing is, I think we just need to if we can find some obvious cuts to cut back, if they're there. But I'm happy to say that there's some positive news in these reports. Would you not agree? I mean, I know as far as year to date, we still got 3 months left. That we're at 106% in a couple of categories. Pardon my magnetic glasses here. when it comes to revenue, of numbers, I would have expected, James and Mr. Mayor, of 103% of property taxes. Was the property taxes of delinquents because of one certain issue? We're at
One big one. We had a big one, yes.
We had 5,000. We're expecting 5,000. We're at $166,000. That's a 3,300 increase. But if I see these property taxes at 103%, that excites me pretty much. And these state sales taxes at 81% 3 months to go, based on that, me putting my dots on my little graphs in my generic way of doing it, try to keep it simple, stupid, we should be over 100.
The sales tax has been a pleasant surprise this year. I wouldn't have dreamed it was done as well, and it's done very well.
And y'all, you've been asked for quite a while to trim the budget as much as you can. You cut it back to the bone, hadn't you, in every part?
You'll just use supplies as an example. Our total supply budget is around, $65,000, $68,000 a year. That's about almost half what it was 5 years ago. It was over $100,000, like $115,000 5 years ago, and 60-something thousand now.
I think you're trying to do a pretty good job when less people paying taxes now than there was 10 years ago, and everything else has gone up, and we're beginning to get into, we can see a little bit of difference in it. As long as we're making progress on cutting our debt down, that's what the state's asked us to do, and that's what I reckon y'all we're whittling it down just a little bit and trying not to replace anything. I think if they get some of this land, you gave us a package that the city owns land, it's not doing any good. Y'all been working on that, trying to get it sold, trying to get something done with it, trying to get it back on the tax base, is that correct?
Yes, we've shown some of it. I showed a piece of property.
Have quite a bit of land that the city owns that y'all are trying to do something with, which I'm glad.
The unfortunate thing about that is some of the prices we're given for some of this land before we come on board, we're going to do an investigation. And another thing, I want to ask about, if you don't care, about our telecommunications. I know Rocky's your aficionado there. Are we, we're talking about $10,000 in telephone communication. Is that for the monthly bill or is that for equipment? And I think there should be an investigation on what Johnson Controls has done here in past. The amount of money that was spent on Johnson Controls, from what I've heard you all got, I need to get in the communications business or whatever their energy conservation business is.
Mr. Gribble, he had requested a copy of their contract, and we got that from him.
Yeah, I got their contract, but I haven't looked at it.
It's about that big.
Well, I don't know if that's water underneath the bridge or that, it's like chalk it up to whatever you want to chalk it up to.
They've come back on multiple occasions to try to get more money. We've held the line on them. We've not given them any more money. We felt like the price that they were being paid should more than cover what they're doing.
That contract, what I've seen of it, which isn't much, I got the whole deal from James tonight. It'll probably take me a while to look it over, but it needs a close look.
PM is still, we had a meeting today where the air keeps going out at the community center. They come up and work on it today, and it works today, and then tomorrow it's out again. I don't know, like 3 times or 4 in the last couple of weeks he's having up there, and it's a recurring thing. We come in down here, one office will be 85 degrees, and the next one will be 62 or something. You freeze to death in one and burn up in the next one. You got to have it done, and they've got all this stuff computerized, there's a glitch in the software, they tweak it, and it works good for a few days again, and you're right back to it. It's a different office. One, it was burning up last time, it's freezing this time.
I appreciate y'all trying to watch after the city's dollars. I think we're a lot more informed now than I have been in the past, knowing exactly what we owe, what we pay, and all that. I appreciate the job y'all are trying to do. If anybody's got any questions, they know to come talk to you.
Well, go back to my original question about communication. Is that $9,700? Is that equipment or is that monthly bills times 12?
Are you looking at one department?
I am looking at, of course, it'll take me a week to find it now that I haven't lost my place. It was line item 355 under general fund, telephone and communications. It has FY '08, fiscal year '08.
I believe you're looking at the revenue section.
Statement of expenditures and encumbrances. Next one is data processing software support, $16,175.
In today's paper, there's a thing about appraisals going out in the mail. Will these property appraisals affect income next year?
The new property should not.
Yeah, that's the annual amount.
Yes.
That's for the deals.
Yes.
Okay, so take that by the 12.
What was the answer on that one?
That $9,700 is not equipments or like, or bills, telephone bills, $9,700 divided by 12. So it's been appropriated $9,700 for our communication bills through City Hall.
For the year?
Yeah, so right now we're at 7124 with 3 months to go, so I guess that's right on pace.
Any other discussion on item I?
Anybody else bring in any items, revenue or take?
I just talked to them about selling the properties if they got.
I'd like to have a discussion one day about property taxes, but I won't make it home alive tonight if I brought that up. But it's something that for some, Mr. Mayor, when was the last time we had a property tax increase? 2001?
13.
14 years ago. I hate to be the bad guy and, run me out of here tomorrow if you want to. It's happening everywhere else. Might as well get on, think about something. I know the people that are paying the brunt of the taxes, real estate taxes, will be up on Washington Avenue looking for me, but it's...
Well, that's one of mine that's the fourth one on my list.
I think it needs to be discussed one day.
We need to get a committee established to take a look at that, where we're at in terms of property tax and whether we need to go up or down.
I did check with Green.
And I had one more question on the...
Roger Holmes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The only other question I had, we're talking, I know, Alderman Jett talked about, how we're up on everything. My question is, we're going to pay back $600,000 that we had to borrow in order to get our budget. We're going to pay that back, what, this month?
May, I think.
May, okay, the month of May. Now, my question is, in order to operate the budget next year, are we going to have to borrow another $600,000?
Yes.
Tina, what?
Yes, we don't have enough cash balance.
All right,
It's not to
see?
balance the budget, it's for cash flow.
I know cash flow, but it still costs us $6,000 a year. And that's why I think we should look seriously at cutting some of these things. I mean, what I've got here, I guess a couple $100,000. And that couple $100,000 we wouldn't have to borrow. And so we need to think about our revenue, but we also need to think about these cuts, and we need to think about them for this budget. Because going back out and borrowing $600,000 next year is just not something that we should be doing. And I don't think the citizens put us here to do that.
I agree.
Because, I can't imagine what kind of shape we would have been in if it hadn't been for Tina and Mr. Fincham. I mean, it was, some of the stuff back there, what they stepped into was a horrible mess. And they've done a real good job of, I tell you, I don't think anyone else knew until the last 2 or 3 years they've been working on it, what kind of shape we were in.
I agree.
And so this is not anything personal, Tina, toward you, Mr. Fincham, but there is some things that we're going to have to do, and we're going to have to quit borrowing money to balance our budget. And we need to really get serious about freezing hiring and increasing taxes so that we can get our house in order. They've gone a long way, but we can take a giant step forward if we'll start doing some of these 5 items here.
Mr. Mayor, we have been told by the state comptroller's office that we cannot borrow any money from here thence out? Were we not given an ultimatum, or at least make an improvement? What's improvement mean? 1 cent or $100,000 or half?
We're coming down on it too, but we're making, that's what they asked us to do, was make it better than it was when we got here, not that same amount. You're cutting down on this every time, and like you say, you can't do everything at one time. It has to come in steps.
Well, we haven't cut it down yet. But
it's already better than it was.
Well, if we have to borrow $600,000 next year, it's not any better, but I get your point. I mean, it's $550, would everybody be jumping up and down in the streets of Newport and say, hey, we only borrowed $550 this year? I don't know. I wish the answer was $0 borrowed, but I don't see. And at first I was not misinformed. I did not know what that money was for. You have to have a certain amount in to cash flow versus we need it to survive. And after getting an explanation of, if we didn't have this, there'd be some situations where you'd be writing bad checks. And I know you've had situations where phones been cut off, policemen want to get gas, and, oh, sorry, you're declined. We can't have that.
Everything was getting turned off. That's not been, I want to make it clear, that's not been while we've been here.
No, a few years ago, I got several calls from banks wondering why the checks were not.
We had bad checks out and all kinds of stuff. I had all that prior to us coming down. We've had none of that since we've been done.
Newport just not got a lot of ways to come in and collect revenue. We're not expanding, we're not getting things here. We just not got the cash flow like we're talking about in these other towns that we had. We're doing the best we can with what we got,
Without the tax anticipation though, I'm speaking to her for that's not mine, but I have many conversations. Without the tax anticipation though, we can't pay our bills to the fall. But we have all these bills that come to you at the beginning of the fiscal year, especially our workers' comp, our liability insurance, that has to be paid. A lot of bills that are one-time bills, and they come to you at the beginning of the fiscal year, and they deplete your cash balance in the bank. And so without, and one thing that you cannot do, this is one of the things that the comptroller alluded to, was that you must have the money in the bank to pay your bills when you get the bill.
Right.
And so you can't hold bills. And we do not hold bills. And without the tax anticipation, though, you'll be holding bills.
Yeah.
And so that's the catch. Now, the money will come in later in the year. It's what's called an anticipation. You know the money's coming in later in the year to offset what you borrowed, but it does not come in a timely fashion. If we were on our feet financially, we would have a large enough cash balance in the bank that in July, when the fiscal year begins, we would be able to pay all these bills and still be able to make it through the fall. But right now, we cannot.
When was the last time I've been stuck up there in the mountains in North Carolina for the last 20 years. When was the last time we were fiscally able to go without? When was the first year we borrowed this amount of money?
Well, this amount I think's been like 3 years, I'm not sure, but we have always had tax anticipation notes. But in the past, they were like in the $150,000 to $200,000 range. They weren't $600,000.
So
$600,000 is larger than that. The county does tax anticipation notes. Most cities do. It's a common practice.
So basically we're at $6,000. It's a $6,000. Don't look good. I don't think to borrow $600,000 to be able to, we don't have that balance. But to me, the bottom line is where that interest charge is what, 1 or 2%?
Can't get anywhere else.
Guys, that's why we need to cut back on it. We need to freeze the hiring. We need to get closer. If it's $150,000 or $200,000.
Has there been any hiring done other than 2 firemen in the last?
Just positions that were currently there, and basically every person that works in every department now is absolutely necessary because there's already been cuts over the years of people back, and then you get people doing so much that they can't do the job they need to do because they're spread too thin.
Every department has lost positions over the last 3 years.
Say it again.
I think every department has lost positions over the last 3 years.
So it's not like we're going out and just trying to hire extra people and all that. We're just trying to be the maintainer, stay right below where we've been. I mean, we're going back.
How many people do we have now that are employees of the city?
It's like 126.
126 full-time, right?
Well, I don't know if that's all, that may include part-time, I'm not sure.
We can get you that number though for certain tomorrow, rather than try and get
I
us.
think it's part and full-time.
She says she gets that number to you.
Okay.
Get you accurate breakdown, but I think that's both.
Yeah, I've got a list of the employees. I didn't think it was that high anyway.
Right now, the fire department's working short.
That's what I heard.
On men, it's supposed to be on.
Tim, you're right at work, but you have, but you've not hired any extra people, have you? Trying to hold what you got, have you?
I excluded the fire department, police department from that.
I just saying they're short right now.
So you've lost full-time people over the years that have never been replaced.
And under Mr. Mark Robson's office, there was a guy that I've heard about, Mr. Cole. What was his job and where did he go to? And do we need that? We need that position.
It's my opinion we do. That he and Mark split the deal. One was codes enforcement, one was like city planner and, like they get a building, like building and all those kinds of things. Now you got Mark doing both jobs. And so when I came to work here in 1981, there was 2 people working in that office. And so Walter left, went to the housing authority as their compliance officer. And it felt like it was a better opportunity for him at the time. And so Walter left and put that position out there. And then the position was never filled. And it was ultimately budgeted out because it was another cost-cutting measure. It was budgeted out to save money. It's my opinion. We should, sure, I know we need to save money. I know we're looking at ways not to increase costs. But I think if we seriously look at rebuilding that position, you've got Mark who's getting close to retirement, and you need to get somebody trained on how to do that. And also, we get complaints constantly, and Mark and I have conversations constantly. Mark's spread pretty thin. And so he and I've been helping him some. We go out and look at things, and I've been trying to help him some, do some stuff. But he used the help, and also I feel like we need to be training someone to step in when he retires.
That was my next question. I'm trying to run Mark off.
Oh, no, but I mean, that's just...
I'm 31 years old. I know Mark's a little bit older than I am. I'm here for a couple of years before retirement, Mark.
Spread thin when you get there.
Well, don't have to get emotional.
Okay, we ready to move on to the last item?
Yes, sir.
That's the one that we voted to approve the music in the Chamber of Commerce behind the City Hall. Do we have a motion to approve that?
I make a motion.
You made a motion, you second? Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Last item is consideration of bids for recycling bins.
Mayor, an update on that. In your package, you'll find 2 bids. We were called and notified that one has withdrawn. And so you're down to 1 bid. Big Orange Sales has pulled out, and that leaves municipal equipment. And they both, and it's probably long because they have the exact same need. So it doesn't like the Ross Lower one. They did exactly the same.
Well, there's a conversation, James, about a grant that helps offset this, or was not, am I hearing something?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so if we bought these at $8.96, that would be a gross amount minus whatever this grant might be. So are we netting?
I think the grant pays, I think it may pay for them all, I'm not sure.
Okay.
The grant is
The grant pays for them all.
It's $25,294, and that's a grant that will cover all of that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the grant covers it.
I know you said something about a grant.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the bid?
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Yes, sir. I second.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes, ma'am.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Mitchell.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Comments from citizens, 5 minutes. Any comments from citizens?
Wayne Williams.
Where we go?
April's hand. Okay. April. I didn't see.
Go ahead, April. This
I'll make it real quick, and this is probably going to mimic what I asked last night, Crystal. When you approve the partnership with one board, the new bylaws, your Joint Economic Community Development Board has to have its own board. So if you have the partnership with one board, you have to have a separate board for the JECDB. And I guess Carter mentioned that he planned on using the same people and just make another board. So technically, you're actually not having a partnership with one board. And the Wilson County Plan, Section 15 of PC 101, which you're required to have by the state of Tennessee, says that this board must be dedicated to industrial recruitment. So if you have the partnership board trying to serve as your joint economic board, then actually you're mixing the duties. And they're not supposed to really have any other duties except for industrial recruitment. So if you pass the partnership with one board and pass those bylaws, is it in the intention of making the partnership as a whole as your PC 101, 1101? And if that, you do realize that the partnership as a whole would have to be funded, required by Tennessee Code, not just the Joint Economic Community Development Board. So I didn't know if Crystal had made you aware of it, or you had been aware of it before you voted, that the economic development, the required 101 state of Tennessee does have to have a separate board. So when you do vote the partnership with one board, that's going to be in conflict. Thanks.
Yes.
According to Carter, that there is no problem since they are separate boards.
Okay.
With the previous board, certain members of it, the agreement member, other various members served on both, so
Okay.
there wasn't any problems with it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Williams.
Huh?
Was you pointing at me, Carl?
Yes. Sure was.
I got 5 minutes to cover 30 years, economic development and so forth. You need more income, Mr. Gribble.
There you go.
I went before the CLB 30 years ago. Charles Lewis Moore had just been elected to his first term as county mayor. I was a high school classmate of Charles Lewis, and my Uncle Bill was chairman of the county court at that time. He let me speak, even though I didn't know enough about it to get on the agenda. But I recommended then we relocate to State Garage. And the idea was received very cordially, but nothing happened. Jeannie Wilson became the county mayor, or the industrial recruiter, and she and her and me were friends and customers to me. I took the idea to her of relocating that State Garage and making that property available for development. And with her board approval, she took the idea to who was it? Ronnie Davis. He liked it. He took it to TDOT in Nashville. They flipped us off. They were building a road up there. They didn't have time to fool with relocating that State Garage. Jim Robinson was my friend, customer and friend at Farm Bureau, and he became the mayor. And I took the idea to him to get that State Garage moved so we could have the property. Coincidentally, the Secretary of Transportation is going to be in Newport. His name is Bruce Saltzman, if he's still living. But Jim made an appointment with him, and he took me with him. Jim read a very formal proclamation to the man that we would like to see that moved. And the guy turned to his people and he said, "What did I tell you?" And he turned back to Jim and he said, "I told my people that property is too valuable to be used for State Garage." Unfortunately, Jim died. I took the idea to Roland Dyke, who took his place, and gave it to him, and he liked it. Unfortunately, he died. This idea is getting scary. I'm next, I guess, but I've been down.
Well, bring it to me.
I told Marcia to take care of Connie. If you get the cold, take care of him. Then I've had Connie.
For 30 years, ladies and gentlemen, I've advocated that we relocate that state garage. The Secretary of Transportation for the state said it's too valuable to be used for state garage. I have reason to believe that EDC might be about to get involved in that, hopefully. Did you want to say something?
No, just your mic had gone off there.
Okay.
It's coming and going for some reason.
Coming and going.
What's wrong, Rob?
No, it's me, it's not the mic.
Close to it.
Mr. Gribble.
Wayne, he said you're a little bit
You're too close. Back up a little bit.
Okay. How's that?
One more step.
Okay. I'm back here again because of the idea that I was here last time about, and I've got 2 minutes. And Mike, I know you've been talked to about this establishing this excursion train ride, and since I was here last, I've mentioned it to a lot of people. I had mentioned it to several people before I came here. The response was enthusiastic. Let's get it done. What do we do? Was a question that was a valid question. And I got involved in opposition to Exit 438, which I still totally disagree with. But I went before the CLB twice to speak in opposition to that. And somewhere along the way, Von Moore brought me the budget for some of the money that had been granted to do that. The grants for the water line, Mike, was like $1,100,000, and it was granted by TVA $500,000, Appalachian Regional Commission County, like $600,000. Now I might have that reversed, but there was grants of like $1,100,000 for the water line, and I had the budget at one time. I wrote this big long letter to the Plain Talk last July, which they printed. I had a call from the mayor of Gatlinburg, and I had a call from the city manager of Gatlinburg about what we're doing over here. They want Highway 321 improved. The mayor of Gatlinburg said that's our life support system. So all that rigmarole, grant money's out there. But significantly, it takes political leadership. Where's Faison? Where's Sutherland? Where's Roth or Dr. Rowe? They need to get involved in this thing. You need the support of Hot Springs, Marshall, Mars Hill, Asheville. They've got to it'll take a concerted effort. This is last week's issue of Time magazine. Right there's a picture of the second most important man in the United States. That's Bob Corker. He won his vote today against Obama on that Iran nuclear treaty. You've got to get these people involved to get grant money. I would suggest, Connie, there's Corker's picture in yesterday's Wall Street Journal. I say again, he's the second most powerful man in this country tonight. You've got to have political support. I would suggest, you know the young people out there who will get it done. I would appoint an ad hoc committee, 2 or 3 people. Get on this railroad. This one, I know I'm out of time. This brags about what Bob Corker did, and I'm going to leave this with you. You can have it. What he did to revitalize downtown Chattanooga. And he put that city on the map. And this lauds us as Tennesseans because we send reasonable people to Washington. But I'd go back again. It's going to take politics, and it's going to take a committee. A significant member of your Economic Development Commission said to me, and you know it, he said it'd take 5 years, Wayne. And it might do it. But you need more money. What if you had the sales tax and real estate tax that you might have if the state garage property was available? Suggest what I said, though, Connie. If I was wanting to pursue the train, I think an ad hoc committee would be your best approach. I love the idea that we can sit here. This is not Russia. I'd get killed if I was in Russia.
I did reopen the talks with some people.
I'm sorry?
I have reopened the talks after you had your last comments, and I've requested what it would take for us to own the depot, what they're looking for specifically in building size, so we will have something that is going to be required from the railroad in order for us to get the depot. So I've got somebody working on that.
That's great. That's great. I'm sorry, Mike, I don't hear well.
I've been working on the memorial building too, to see what we can do to get it fixed or back updated. I hear conflicting stories about what can be done, what can't be done, but I'm working on it. I'd like to get these people together and find out, get them both face to face to see what, but we're working on that project too, okay?
Mike, I encountered a good friend of me and you both, he talked with you. He's retired now at the Walgreens, like last weekend. And this is what you fellas place. They said, what we need to do is tear down that memorial building. It's worthless. You know, it's, I get your point, Mike.
I hear both sides.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, you can't please us. You know, they crucified Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You know, he couldn't please the people.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bobby, for putting me back. I'm going to let it go at that. But I do believe, read this, Connie, what Corker did in Chattanooga. That is a tribute to each of us Tennesseans, what this article says about Bob Corker and what a wheeler leader is. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
We'll give you this.
Okay.
I'd like to have,
thank you.
Just one more little thing. I think we should have, I agree, comments from the public should be before the business. They do that at Newport Utility. I guess they've been doing that for a number of years. It works well that we have the people's input before we get to these items. And I think we should change our agenda accordingly. You set the agenda, but I would like to request that we do that.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. All right. Do any of you guys have any problem with that? It works well like that.
Can I have a half a minute?
Yes, sir. I was just getting ready to ask you.
April 26th, between 2 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, is open house at Memorial Baptist Church. I would like to see each and every one of you out there during that time. 2 to 4, a week from Sunday.
A beautiful facility.
Yeah, it's
a great addition.
It's an eyesore turned into a good thing. I wish there was about 50 more buildings just like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, did I see working construction, the top layer of asphalt?
They're going to, they're taking 3 inches off. They're going to put 3 inches down. But in order for it to be done correctly, and the state doesn't do this, somehow the city utilities is going to have to get the water lines and stuff relocated, and underground electric and so forth is going to have to be dealt with. And it might be something that we need to get some advisement on what process we need to go through. The state will not do that. It's going to have to come from within the city and the utilities and so forth to get that moved before they're going to get in there and dig. You know, you might do one intersection at a time. Dig it out, put the proper base in so that it's going to last. This will probably last a year, what they're going to put down like it normally does, and it's going to, because of all of the shifting that we've talked about before.
Previous manager of the office here in Newport, he said that's what it would take. They've done several studies on it, I think.
For years, that's
But they're going to have to get down in there because there's pavers down in there, and when they pour that blacktop on top of it, the trucks come through, where you have the same rut back out again.
Any water that seeps in at the sidewalks, cracks, wherever it could be, goes into that, and it's like little earthquakes of shifting around to where it will just not hold up. So that's the process we're going to have to go through with the utilities to take care of that before they will do it the way it should be done.
It'll be smooth for about a year, so we need to be happy.
Let's enjoy it while we can. Any other comments from citizens? I see none. Now, for me to get this correctly, Tina, we have to have a motion, a second, and a vote before we leave here. Okay, do I have a motion? Got a motion to leave, adjourn. We have a second. We got a second. All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. You're officially dismissed.